I expected I would have to go to jail, but I don't know when and for how long. But definitely, I would not admit guilty, because for somebody who is determined to resist, I would never admit guilty.
And that was pro-democracy activist and former Apple Daily News founder Jimmy Lai with me in his final interview before he was arrested in 2020 for, quote, conspiracy to collude with foreign forces and publish seditious material. They threw him in jail for that. Today marks 5 years since Lai was taken into custody in Hong Kong. His trial is over. He testified for 52 days, and a verdict could come any day. Lai faces at least 15 years in jail if convicted from here. He will turn 78 years old in prison next week. I have two of the most deeply impacted people here with me this morning to talk about Jimmy Lai's case and his current condition. Joining me now are the children of Jimmy Lai, Claire and Sebastian Lai, joining me right now in Washington. Thanks very much for being here. We appreciate your time, and we know how tough this has been. Claire, when was the last time you saw your father?
The last time I saw my father was in summer. So, that's when the heat is at its absolute worst. I mean, he gets like heat rashes every summer, and they last until the middle of autumn. So, we are extremely worried about him and his health.
What do you mean heat lashes? What is
heat rashes? Sorry,
heat rashes.
So in this cell it gets up to 44 degrees Celsius, so that's about 111 degrees Fahrenheit, and he has like, I mean, they look like mosquito bumps, but they're quite a bit larger, and they're just all over his body, and they're red, and they're just all over, and he gets them every summer. And he's in a cell without any air conditioning, and he just bakes in there. So that's unsurprising, and they last until, around November. So yeah.
Sebastian, we've talked about Jimmy Lai facing such tough prison conditions. He's been in solitary confinement in that concrete cell for his entire sentence. And the last time I spoke with you, you said that the prison will not even allow him to attend mass. Tell us about that.
He's been denied so many of his rights. As you know, being in solitary confinement for more than 14 days is considered prolonged solitary confinement. He's been in there for 1,800 days. And in a situation like this, his faith is such an important pillar to keep him strong. And they know that. And so they've attempted to break him, to break his faith, to not give him mass, to deny him Eucharist on multiple occasions. But look, this is a man who knows that he did the right thing, and he knows that he's doing right by himself, by the people of Hong Kong, and by God. So his faith is still incredibly strong.
I mean, Claire, you were with your father in court every single day of the trial. You were granted multiple visits to see him in prison. Tell us about that and what you can share about your time with Jimmy.
Firstly, I'll talk about the prison visits. My father was an extremely robust and strong man going into prison 5 years ago. Now he's extremely frail, visibly a lot sicker than he was going in. He's lost a significant amount of weight. His nails are turning colors. They're purplish gray, and some of them are falling off, and his teeth as well. And he gets like muscle infection where his limbs, like all his lower limbs, get red and swollen and just agonizingly painful. And he gets waist pains and back pains where it's painful for him to even stand, and some days he can't even get out of bed. And he's diabetic, and has had heart issues, and his hearing and his vision are failing. And like he's even required sometimes to use a hearing aid when he's in jail, and it's just it's extremely heartbreaking to see this happen to him, who he was extremely robust going in. And in court, it's extremely hard to give evidence. He took the stand for what was in essence 3 months, and I think the part that I was extremely touched by was when he said truth prevails in God's kingdom, and that's good enough for him. And I think that's one of our main takeaway from that trial.
And for what, Sebastian? Because he wanted free speech, because he was a man of his word, publishing the facts and the reality of what was going on in Hong Kong. He knew that Hong Kong was an international hub for business, and it would be forever changed should the communists come in, which is exactly what they did. Why do they want Jimmy Lai behind bars the way they do?
He founded his newspaper with the ideals that information is choice and choice was freedom. And he was going to stop at nothing to give the truth to the people of Hong Kong. And that's what him and his reporters did. And for that courage, for staying in Hong Kong and defending his reporters and defending other pro-democracy activists, they've jailed him. And they've kept him there for now 5 years, and that's 78. As you heard from Claire, so heartbreakingly from Claire, his health is failing.
President Trump pressed Xi Jinping about your father's case during their meeting in October in South Korea. The president reportedly told Xi Lai's release would improve U.S.-China relations and be good for China's image. The president and UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer have also together been local about Jimmy Lai's release. But Sebastian, you've got recommendations for what could happen next. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, we've been so incredibly grateful for the support of the president. You know, we couldn't have a better man on our side, and it's a situation now where it is about saving his life. Look, I think this is a very easy thing for Hong Kong and China to do. In terms of administratively, it's putting him on a plane. It will take them 2 hours to do this thing that is not only the right thing to do, it's also the humane thing to do, and it's also a thing where many countries want China to do. His trial's over. He's been in there for 5 years. What's the point in keeping him there and killing him when there's been no evidence of him committing any wrongdoing, even in their own incredibly horrible trial, incredibly horrible prison system?
I mean, Claire, you and your mother actually met with Pope Leo XIV back in October. You said this was a very important meeting as your family is devout Catholics. What did the Pope tell you?
I mean, it was such an honor and a privilege to meet with the Pope, and you know, we were assured of his prayers, and I mean, it was such a privilege to get an audience with him.
And do you feel that he understood your plight?
So we did not discuss it at length, but I trust in our Holy Father and continue to support him in our prayers.
Is there anything you want viewers to understand about your father's condition and his plight right now?
I mean, my father is a man who physically is. I mean, his health is failing, as my brother has said, but you know, he continues to be sustained by the prayers of many people. I mean, multiple times when we visited, even when he's been feeling unwell, and actually especially when he's been feeling unwell, he said that, you know, that he felt that people were praying for him, and he was so touched by that. So, you know, in your charity, I hope that especially next week, on his birthday, you know, you can spare a prayer for him. I mean, it's also the feast day of the Immaculate Conception, and he draws such inspiration from the Blessed Mother. So I hope that you can spare a prayer for him on that day. And
do you believe that we will get a ruling next week?
We will not, but I'm hopeful that we will get one in the not too distant future.
All right. Well, we'll be praying for your father. Thanks very much for sharing all of that with us, Claire and Sebastian Lai. We appreciate your time this morning. Thank you. We'll be right back.